Hello, this is wmpyr here to respond back to some of the comments that I've received. So let me get started right away. Thank you all for checking out my channel and leaving comments behind. Okay, Mr. Frederick says, "Hi, the song volume looks good." Well, thank you for that feedback. If we can punch with the vertical figure eight, there is a reverse figure eight vertical punch. Sorry for my English writing. I'm from Quebec City and it's not my first language. Hey man, I completely understand and you did great here. Being bilingual myself, I can relate. Okay, so yeah, the vertical figure eight coming this way, and this is I'm dropping that fist there, and of course you could go the other way as well, and in that case the fist is coming upwards like this, boom. So you could come here, but what I want you to think about is that the figure eight, which can be, it's like a sideways, right, this way, and it could also be the other way, and then it could also be vertical, which it could come this way, but it could also go the other way. Well, think about this. That figure eight can be 360 degrees all over. So there's many kinds of movements that you could put in there. Okay, so there's many things to discover and to practice. So please view that more, not so much as here's a specific technique, but more as this is a concept for you to play around with, okay? And then from there, you find something that you like, something that works in your movement. And then from there, you work on that and make that into a technique that works for you, okay? So Mr. Kyle says, volume level perfect. Well, thanks again for the feedback, bro. And thank you for the empty-handed tutorial. My pleasure, absolutely. Yeah, I do feel that the empty hand aspect oftentimes gets forgotten, and not just forgotten. When I see a lot of times they say panantukan and stuff like that, they just using some elbow destructions and then it's just boxing, okay? Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to grab some stuff more from the original art of what we're doing with the sticks and bring it more into the empty hand world. So, that's kind of part of my focus that I have been doing all these years. David Thompson says, keep up the good work, buddy. Well, thank you so much, and I will try my best. Okay, so Mr. Don Baker says, okay, and I can do it effectively with the stick too, right? So he's talking about the Eskrima punch, and yes, absolutely, it comes from the sticks. So absolutely, you could do it with a stick, you could do it empty hand, you could do it with a knife, you could do it machete. That's the idea, all right? The next thing is, this feels like a solo performance from Stomp, says the Poke Kid. Good point. When you bring in music to the aspect, when you start focusing on the rhythm, you're adding auditory cues. Therefore, your learning becomes faster. Okay, so if you are more musically inclined, you should definitely take advantage of that and start listening to the beats and the rhythms. And once you can create a rhythm consistently, you can also break the rhythm and go into broken rhythm as well to fake out your opponent and stuff. So you also said, keep up the great work. You make this look like a lot of fun, even though my initial thoughts was that this looks scary. And you're absolutely right. It's incredibly fun, and it's so enjoyable to me. But at the same time, it is scary. You have to respect that they are weapons. And when I'm moving the double machete, I could easily cut up my arms. I could easily cut up my legs. I could hit myself in the head. It's super dangerous. So please do not copy. I'm putting it up there for information purposes and so people can actually see what's up, So Mr. Zen Dragon, who has a YouTube channel, he has been on YouTube for quite some time and putting up some excellent martial arts videos. He does a lot of kung fu stuff, and he puts it on the test where he puts up sparring videos, semi-contact and full contact. So please check out his YouTube channel. He says, nice control. Thank you. Where did you get the eye protection? I believe at Walmart. Does it fog up? No, those are for shooting. So, you know, there's a lot of space. So I haven't had any problems fogging up. And yeah, they're for firearms. And the reason why I'm wearing them to begin with is because the tire is so hard, and the force that I'm putting in, parts, not all the time, but parts of the blade edge can chip and fly off, and it does. It does fly off, so it's very, very dangerous. You don't want that in your eye. And also even your mouth, you gotta not have it wide open. If you're bad with your cardio and you're sucking air in, and your mouth's open, you're and then you accidentally eat one of those things, that would be really bad. So you have to be very, very careful. Once again, it's super dangerous. Might come in handy for full contact animal style kung fu sparring. So he's talking about like claws and stuff to the eyes. I recommend, when I was in college, when I was a bio major studying biology, I wore a lab coat, and we had to wear like these goggles. And these goggles were actually flexible, so they weren't like glass. They were cheap, flexible goggles with a strap, elastic strap. I think those would be great for this kind of thing. Now, there might be something actually specific for this kind of full contact sparring that you're talking about it. But what I'm recommending is probably, when you include the price point, you can't beat it. So, but you know, just keep in mind, you probably you get what you pay for, kind of thing. So Uncle Cal says, and by the way, Uncle Cal is another longtime martial arts bro here online that he's on YouTube. So please check out his YouTube channel as well. And he says, awesome work, bro. You can almost make music with those things. And yeah, once again, absolutely, the musical element. I'm not musically inclined, but for those of you that are, if you could pay attention to the music, it would be good. It would be really, really good. You learn faster, makes the training fun. Okay, so Likata says, great stuff, man, and keep the good work. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Once again, I will try my best. And okay, so this one is in Japanese, so I will try my best to translate. So he says, UFC fighter Anthony Smith, he was attacked in his garage, so a home invasion. So in this kind of situation, let's say you have a flashlight and a knife. Which weapon should be in the front is what he's saying. And he's guessing that the knife should be in the front and the flashlight should be in the back. And what I want to present to you is perhaps a different way of thinking. So not so much blade versus impact weapon or something like that. What I want to present to you is, when we look at Filipino martial arts, always go to the roots. That's what I like to do. I go back to the history, the origin, the roots. And in the history, there's a strong influence from European fencing. So the Spanish fencers, the conquistadors, right? So when you think of it that way, what they did was espada y daga. That has a very strong influence in FMA. Espada y daga is sword and dagger. So the idea was the sword, which was a single-handed light sword, is going to be in the front hand, and the dagger, in case things got close, is over here in the back hand. So the same idea. Go by length rather than blade versus impact or something else. Okay, that's my recommendation as a base. So this is not written in stone. You can adapt depending on the circumstance. Things may change, but if you're ever in doubt, just go by length. The longer weapon is in the front hand, the shorter weapon is in the back hand. So that's what I recommend. as a base. Once again, you change that, modify that depending on the circumstance. But I think that's a good place to start. Okay, so Mr. Kyle again, he says, this translates well in Nihongo and English. Awesome, Mr. Wmpyr. Glad you were safe. Me too, because I was swinging around double machetes. It's very, very dangerous. It may not have looked that fast. It may not have looked like I was putting a lot of force, but for me, it was fast enough. And for me, it was enough force in there that it was scary enough that I could definitely hurt myself. So, yeah, you got to be ultra careful doing that kind of thing. In fact, please don't copy. And if you were to do that kind of training, you should definitely have an instructor supervising you. And if not, you have to be at least at the level where you already know what you're doing. If not, you should not be even attempting it. And the biggest problem is a lot of people probably think they're a lot better than they really are, myself included. So, you know, you got to be really, really careful about doing live blade training. So I'd feel safer swinging around sticks. Absolutely. Please, please. There's nothing wrong with using the sticks. The sticks should come first. And you never leave. You never graduate the sticks. You know, I always go back to the sticks. I always go back to the roots. So you have your sticks, and then you go to your training knives, and you also have empty handwork. So those three you should have lots of practice with that before you even attempt a live blade. And I used to think that machete might be easier because going from stick to machete, its length is similar than going from stick to like actual knife. But now I disagree with that. I think a real knife should come after, the real knife should come before the machete, okay? The machete, because it's heavier and longer, it's just more dangerous, okay? If you accidentally swing it and chop off your kneecap, that's obviously going to be really, really bad. With a knife, you could still cut yourself, you could still hurt yourself, but once again, I feel like the machete is just that you swing it, you get much more momentum, much more power. It's very, very dangerous. Not to say that the knife isn't, but when you're working out by yourself. So I recommend knife first before machete. But before all of this, you need to go sticks, you need to go training knives, you need to have empty handwork, and you need to have enough of those, a lot of those, okay? So next, let me move on. Mr. Don Baker says, well, that was some great cardio. And yes, absolutely, that was the point. I wanted to go over 3 minutes, which is one round in boxing. I feel like that is the absolute minimum. And people may say, well, in a real life, it doesn't last long and this and that. Well, in real life, your adrenaline, your heart's going to be beating fast and all that. So you need to be fit, period. Okay, so if you're not fit, you're going to have a hard time. Okay, so that's the bottom line, right? And yeah, so for me, like I said, 3 minutes is minimal. I wanted to do a lot more than that, but at my age and everything, you know, and that was the least that I wanted to show for you guys to present. And I'm happy that I was able to do that, and I'm happy that I didn't get hurt doing that. So I like to try training on a target that has no give like that. Absolutely. The tire is really, really hard. Even though it's hard, it does have a little bit of bounce if you hit it a certain way. So there are times, not just being careful about cutting my own hands, hitting my own arms, hitting my head, and also my own legs and stuff, it could bounce back as well. So some of that, you have to control that because you can feel it and you hit it and it wants to do that and it could come straight back to you. So, you know, that's another thing I had to be careful of. But mainly, it is really hard. So it doesn't have any give. And so like when you are, most of the time, and when you're stabbing and stuff, it makes you have to work your grip a lot. You have to have a really, really good grip. And by good, I mean technical, skillful grip, not strong grip. I mean a good technique in your grip. And by even that video that I just did, it just once again lets me know that I have a lot to go, that my right hand was way better than my left hand, and even my right hand wasn't perfect. I still have a lot to work on. So those are the kinds of feedback that I got from training that way. So you're right, it's absolutely excellent. So Music and Coffee says, great work, my friend. Well, thank you so much. And he was talking about the Eskrima throwing video. And yeah, the throwing aspect, once again, it was taught to me very early on. And I was really surprised when I heard it. But it was just one of those things that overall, when I was learning, it was Arnis at the time, but when I was learning Arnis, that it just let me know that this is a style that's very versatile. So and that to this day, I feel it's very, very versatile. With small amounts of stuff, let's see how much we could do. And I really like that kind of resourcefulness within the style. Okay, so it's not like we have all this. It's more like we have this much, and let's see how much in how many different ways we can use it. So that's kind of the way that I view it. So Mr. Naihan Chin Kempo says, a problem with throwing a weapon is if you miss, you've just given your attacker a weapon. And that's absolutely a good point. That's something that everyone that throws a weapon for self-defense or combat should definitely keep that in mind. At the same time, don't let that be an excuse not to develop throwing skills. Don't make that hold you back, okay? So because I'd rather have this skill than not have it. And it's really not super difficult, at least the way that I'm doing it. It's not an extremely hard skill. So it's not like I have to spend 30, 40 years to become really, really good at it. No, not at all. Not at all. But, it's something I keep working on. And, if I do enjoy getting better at it. It's not my specialty, but once again, just like grappling, ground fighting, I don't want to be without it. In case it happens, I want to be able to do it. So same thing. Okay, so next, let me go into here. Great video, but I thought silat originated from Malaysia. You're saying that it originated in Indonesia. Would you please do a video on where silat came from to the best of your knowledge? Thanks, wmpyr. I like your channel very much and keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much. And this is from Justin Shaw. So yeah, from my understanding, silat came from Indonesia. I don't know of a Malaysian martial art, like indigenous, like this is the Malaysian martial art. I don't think so. Maybe I do. Not off the top of my head. So yeah, silat, from my understanding, is an Indonesian martial art, and yeah, that's about the extent of my knowledge. Mr. Takagishi Sensei from Japan is an urban silat practitioner. So the silat that I've seen on like video and stuff like that were very, very traditional. And Takagishi Sensei from Japan, what he does is urban, so it's very modern. And when I had that one time where I went to Japan and actually met up with him in person, and we crossed, we exchanged ideas and we did a little bit of practice together. It felt like a brother or sister style. It felt very, very close to what I was doing. And so we got along right away, and to this day we still talk. So that's really all I can say. Now the traditional silat that I've seen looks to me, it looks so different from what I do, or the Filipino martial arts that I've seen, that I mean it looks completely different, at least to me. And I'm just like, whoa, So that's really all I got for you. Okay. So the Killa method, he says, I like to see some knife throwing from you, bro. I've taught my daughter and I how to throw knives, but we use spear and thorn technique to throw. I'm not familiar with the names. I don't watch knife throwing videos, so to speak. For me, it's something that was taught to me that I remembered years later, that we throw the stick. And I was like, well, if we throw the stick, obviously we're going to throw the knife, we're going to throw the machete, we're going to throw whatever we can. And then I was like, well, how do you throw it? Well, everything in Filipino martial arts is pretty much like recycled. So I was like, well, we throw it the same way we cut, the same way we strike, the same way, we do everything. So I just went that route, and I didn't really necessarily look out and go, how do we throw the stick? How do we throw the knife? I didn't look up stuff. I was like, the answers are already there within the art. I just need to practice it. So that's kind of the approach that I took. Now, once again, I'm not a specialist at this. It's not my thing. It's just something that I felt was part of understanding the art better. So I did it. So I'm not the best person. If you really want to see good knife throwing and stuff, there's plenty of other people that you should go to. Don't come to me. I would like to show my method of throwing, which once again, there's nothing special about it. But I would like to make a video. It's just that filming in the garage and filming in the backyard is very, very difficult. And right now, this room here that I film for pretty much almost everything, this is the most convenient for me. So 9 times out of 10, I'm here. And I know people have asked me about footwork and stuff, and in this room, it's impossible. There's just not enough room. So I apologize for that. But in the meantime, there's plenty of other stuff for me to cover. Okay, so Uncle Cal says, this is so interesting, great for a martial arts nerd like me. Awesome, bro, pretty easy to understand. Well, thanks. Thank you once again. Okay, and I think, am I done here? Me Horror Show says, Fist of the North Star. It's strange y'all didn't talk about Violent Jack. Completely different author, completely different manga. I like Violent Jack, actually. I have a few mangas of Violent Jack. I'm not sure if Sensei Rick is familiar with Violent Jack, but it never left an impression as strong as Hokuto no Ken, Fist of the North Star, for both of us at least. So that's why we keep talking about Fist of the North Star. But okay, so I think this is about it for now. The video's gone long enough, and I apologize if I haven't covered questions or your comments. But yeah, I think I'll stop it at right here. So anyway, thank you again. Thank you all so much for watching and leaving comments on my channel. I really appreciate it. You all stay safe, take care, and that's it for now.